back to another edition of the Daily Misfire, and we're going to be working on the Nova. I know, shocker. And this is for good reason. So, after six Smokies was a huge success. The Nova ran $7.99 average, I think, for the entire week, which my whole goal is running the 7s the whole week, and we did that on the average. So, $7.99 is a 7-second drag car. Look it up. Anyway, the last day we were struggling a little bit to get that $7.99. We ended up getting a $7.95 the last pass of the day, and you can watch video of the last 3 or 4 passes. And you can see the top end of the track, it starts puffing out a little bit of smoke. I didn't realize at the time it was doing that, but the other day we pulled plugs. When I was editing the video, I saw it and I was like, huh, that's not very good. I pull the plugs out of the Nova and we see that. Yeah, not completely ideal. So with that being said, we gotta pull the motor and look at things. You could probably like check stuff in the car, but there's really no sense in it. In this video you won't see them, but I'm going to pull the motor and we're going to disassemble the car. We're going to disassemble the engine, and I have some upgrade stuff that I'm planning to do so that we can get a little bit faster and we can get a little bit closer to that 12.0 index racing stuff that I want to do with the car. But in order to do that, before we do anything else, the motor has to come out. So we're going to yank the motor out real quick. Should take a little bit of time, about an hour or two. Get this thing out of here, get it on a stand and look at it and kind of see what the damage is as far as anything. It is a old wore out small block. If you haven't watched any of the other videos of me talking about this 350, it is an 010 350 4-bolt main block. It literally is a bone stock 4-bolt main 350 that I think we've owned that engine for about 10-12 years at this point. And it was in my dad's Nova before, and then it got put in my car. We had double humps on it. It probably has, 1,200 passes on it at this point. It's probably as close to a 100,000 mile motor. But it's ran consistent 1250s, 1280s, 1290s. I mean, it's gone anywhere from a 15, 16 second pass, and we worked it down into the 12s. So over, 1,000 passes, it's gone cross country, kind of a deal. 2 drag and drive events. It deserves a little bit of love. So hopefully, we can get away with a dingle ball hone and put some new rings in it and kind of go from there. Worst case scenario, we're punching the block over and we're making something really cool. So we don't know any of that until we get into it. So let's get into it right now. is either loose or off aside from motor mounts, which you can say those are on the bottom. So now I'm going to push it back, clean up my water mess here, and then we're going to pull the starter off, get the headers out of the way, and then get the motor mounts, converter bolts, last few transmission bolts, and then we can yank this thing. So, and it is currently 2:50. I started at 1, so it's been about 2 hours of me doing this, and we're pretty much done at this point. That's all going to take me about 45 minutes, so it should be out before 4 would be my guess. So ready and jack it up time. It is out. It has been done. The deed is done. And we're making more of a mess, but The deed is done, the engine is out. I must rest now. Now I gotta wire that guy up, get it mounted up to where it's not gonna fall and die. Then we gotta get the car out of the shop. Then we gotta crack into this guy, which won't happen tonight, but hopefully we'll have it out and have a chance to look at it here pretty soon. It's always something. Is there any tracers of like oil? Let me grab a flashlight. That one's pretty wet. That one's open. I don't see anything bad as far as oil goes. We'll have to take it all apart and look at it really, really hard. With that, I'm going to clean up and we'll start cracking into this thing later because tomorrow's Thanksgiving, so we'll crack into it later. Alright, well, we are back in the shop and it's time to tear this guy apart. So first thing, we're going to pull the intake off. Then we're going to get all the rockers off, we're going to get all the push rods out, and we're just going to kind of go from there. I would like to get it at least down to the short block without getting pistons and stuff out maybe. We'll definitely drain the oil out of it, look at the oil, look at the cylinder heads, look at lifter valley, see what's kind of going on in there. See, we'll probably pull the lifters out and stuff like that. We'll pull the cam out maybe today, maybe not, I'm not sure yet, but at some point we'll have to have it down to the bare block. It's just kind of depending on how far I want to go today, but for sure intake and heads coming off. So first things first, inside doesn't look bad right there. As far as all that goes, that all looks pretty clean. I don't see any like metal flakes or any kind of metallic-y stuff. Honestly, that part looks okay. Yeah, I think as far as all that stuff goes, it might be okay. Alright, let's keep going then. Intake runners and stuff like that. You can notice how clean these guys are, and then I wiped a little bit on these guys, but these have a little bit of a brown tinge at the bottom of them, which could mean, given the fact that there's a brown tinge up here and a little bit up around here, this intake gasket could have leaked a little bit and could have gotten a little bit of water into it, which isn't ideal. When I look down in there, it looks clean itself, but one little tracer to kind of pay attention to on this last cylinder on this side, so because that is that runner, so make sure we look at that one. Look at this one, These guys don't look bad, but it's interesting though because this is the side that theoretically was the better side because when it was smoking, it was the driver's side that puffed out the smoke. But saying that, I don't know. We'll have to look at it and see. So, with that being said, time to take the cylinder heads off. I think these pistons have had on them in a long time. And that is including with the old heads when it was smoking quite a bit. So I don't know if it's these heads, if there's something in that pattern on them. Seems pretty clean. There is one spot right there, you can see. That one's a little bit cleaner right there, right between the middle. And that one has a middle gap. Now, I don't know if that means it was actually leaking. I don't know if that means that they were leaking between the pistons or not, or cylinders. Because that side looks okay. It's that side that's... looks like they're all touching. Interesting. But yeah, this one's really bad. This one has active crap in it. You can see that. The cylinders don't have any more scoring than they already did. They don't look like they do anyway. Okay. Yeah, let me look at this one. This one has the same dealio. Now it also tore that part of the gasket off, so maybe that's what's tracing it, quote unquote. But yeah, I mean, those don't look bad. Not like how interesting. Okay. Alright, so with that, I guess it's time to pull lifters out and see what they look like. So let's go from there. Alright, what do you two look like? Nice and easy coming out. I mean, they don't look bad to me. The roller feels good. That roller feels good. That one had a little bit tougher time coming out, but again, don't look bad. Nice and easy coming out. Rollers look clean. Nice and easy coming out. Rollers look good. Bodies look clean. That one may have, it's hard to tell, those may have cracks on them. I'll have to look at that one. Not this guy. Yeah, they have the same wear pattern on that top part. The rollers themselves look good though. Yeah, they look good to me. Last two. Nice and easy coming out. Yeah, they all kind of have that look to them. Let me look at some of those pretty hard. That one had a little bit of coolant on it. That could have just been from it creeping out somewhere when we took the cylinder heads off. That's probably most likely. But looking at that cam kind of quickly, I don't see any major strike marks through it, no major lines in anywhere. Yeah, looks good to me. Okay. Alright, well that's, I guess, passing number 2. Let's look at a couple of these guys. So, these guys don't have near the same wear pattern on them. Let me put you guys down and kind of show you what I'm looking at. Alright, so, oh, it just goes away. Okay, good. Good. So there's a line you can see right there. I don't know if you can really see it very well, but it wipes away your fingers. So that might be where like the roller stops. So that's like buildup of oil on them. Yeah, it just goes away. Alright, cool. Yeah, the rollers feel nice and smooth though. Yeah, they look good to me. Alright, cool. So the valve train stuff seems all okay. As far as that goes, valve train looks good. As long as none of those are sticking, which didn't sound like anything was sticking. It sounded all nice and crisp and clear. So it was just chooch and a little bit of smoke. So with that being said, I guess it's time to pull this stuff off. Yay! Alright, so before I started pulling that apart, I was looking at stuff a little bit more. And you can see there's clean spots right there on that guy. You can see kind of in the ring landing right there. You can see that. And when I look at that same cylinder's chamber on the head, you can see a clean spot right there. And there's a water jacket right there, and it's a clean spot from the water jacket on the head to there. So, and you can kind of see that with some of the other spots too, that little clean spots in different spots of the head. So maybe we had a head gasket issue with those heads and this block, which maybe mean that we might not be a bad idea to deck this block, line hone it, get the crank line hone, balance everything, have the block just cleaned up, because these cylinder walls don't actually look all that bad to me. They feel nice and straight still. I know, you know, you're talking about thousandths, but I don't feel any yups or warps, or right there is the worst I can feel. Or that might have just been oil. I don't know. I feel like it'd be smoking all the time if it was a piston issue. Like it would just always smoke, and not just when you get on the top end. It almost sounds like a pressure issue, which would make sense because then there's a lot of water pressure building up, and then it would put out through the head gasket. It would put out there, and then it would smoke. Otherwise, you're just building up carbon and just little bits, and it looks like complete crap. So maybe that's the issue. Maybe that's the issue we're having. And it would also make sense why it was losing a little bit of power, and it was so hard the last day of 6 Smokies to get a 795. So finally did it, but it was smoking. So with that being said, let's drop the oil out of it and kind of go from there. So I'm optimistic right now, cautiously optimistic. Alrighty, so we're back in the shop. I have my party puller stuff off, so you can take the front harmonic balancer off, and then we're going to spin the dude over, and we're going to I'll take the timing chain and stuff. I don't know if I'll take the cam or anything out right this minute, because we can get pistons and stuff out, I think, with the cam being in, but I don't know what I'll do. But at this point, we can pull the cover off, we can pull this off, we can pull the crank and stuff out, we can get all that stuff kind of taken apart, and we can really look at what these cylinders and stuff look like. So with that, let me get this guy off, we'll get the timing chain cover off, we'll just keep going from there, which I might pull the pan off before I take that off. But yeah, with that being said, that needs to come off still. That'd be a mess. So I'm going to take that off too. I might dump that into something so we can see if there's any metal in anything. Hopefully there isn't. Hopefully that's clean. So let's do that first. One thing to note, if you like putting oil filters on really tight, you can get guys like this. And they make this super easy to pull them. He was on there very tight. But saying that, once you get it off, look at that. Bam. That's a little black. We're going to set this guy down in here. Doesn't look that bad. At least that part doesn't. We'll clean that off and we'll look inside of that here in a little bit. But let's get the oil pan and stuff off. Prepare for a mess. That's a lot. Hang on. This is very unconventional. We literally have hundreds of mop heads from a guy that just like gave them to us. So I'm gonna do that. And hopefully this will help pad some of that from just dumping all over everything. Let's try this again. Looks really clean in there. So that is a good sign that there's no milkshake, there's no water, it looked like in there. There was no traces of water in anything. That is a positive, because that means that there's no, probably no major head gasket leak to where it got down into the actual oil. If anything, it was just in the combustion chamber, which I'll take that as a huge win. So with that, we got the oil pan off, we can get the balancer off, we can get the timing chain cover off, we can get all that stuff off the front. But looking at everything, it all looks pretty decent in there. Yeah, I don't see any major, like looking at it quickly without pulling any bearings or mains or anything, I don't see anything that's like, oh no. Which it never made any weird sounds either to begin with, so as far as that goes, there's really nothing to be concerned about, really. So with that, let's get pulling. Alright, so in case you've never used one of these guys before, you use 3 attachment points. If you're really fancy and can get to one, you can always use the 4th. But it's basically you find the right bolts to be able to put in those. You get washers, and then you use this guy right here to loosen and tighten, and you're going to push that guy in, and it's going to pull that guy off. So it's going to separate this from that. It's really straightforward. I always use impacts and stuff because it makes my life way easier than trying to hold things and trying to pull it off by hand. You can pull these off by hand, it just takes a lot more work and effort. Like I said before, this is an Amazon special that was like literally like 20 bucks on Amazon, and it has been working great. There's been no issues with it. If you ever, the only thing that might go bad on it is the actual rod or you might pull the threads out of that. But if you're doing that, clearly something is not happy and you probably should stop. So with that, it's literally see, that's pretty much all that happens. Bam. Well, I feel like a monkey with space tools, but I have my Neotech bore gauge, which this does 2 to 6 inch bores, and all the different bottom settings pretty much is how you get there. This is like $45, I think, on Amazon. Super cheap. But for what we're doing, it's perfect for doing this. And what we did earlier as proof of concept in one cylinder. So if you watch that guy right there, I'm going to turn this guy off. Now we're going to turn it back on, have it zeroed. Now we're going to drop it down through the cylinder. So at the bottom, at the very bottom, you can see we have, where it doesn't ride, where the piston doesn't ride at all. Let me get back into even right here. Yeah, I mean we're pretty much. It's hard to really do this with the camera at the same time, but here. When I have this totally centered in the cylinder, as we go up and down, and the part where the piston rides. When we did this and I was paying attention to what I was doing, it shows less than like 2 thousandths top to bottom. So when you cruise through it, so I think a dingle ball hone and slap new pistons in it and call it George, and it should be totally fine. Testament to old motors, and they just work. So with that being said, I'm gonna work on getting all the other cylinders out of it, or pistons out of the cylinders, and we'll get ready to dingle ball hone. So I think this was a huge success though. Alright, so we are back in the shop, and originally I had planned to pull every piston out of the thing and have it all kind of laying out here and kind of give you a generic plan that I have for the engine, but having one piston out, I haven't had enough time to actually pull everything apart. So you're going to get the wrap up right now, especially considering the Wagon 2, the rusty parts car, is in the shop, and I have bigger plans for that you'll see very soon. But I'm going to give you kind of the rundown of what the thought theory right now is on the 350 for my Nova, and that is we're going to pull all the pistons out. We're going to take the crank out, polish the crank, check it over, make sure the crank itself's okay. Then I'm going to buy a set of Claimer pistons, some Keith Blacks or something like that, just some cheap hyper-eutectic kind of flat top piston, get a little bit more compression out of it. So we're going to go from 9 1/4, 9-ish to 1, 8.8, whatever it is right now, to 10 1/2, 10 3/4, somewhere around there. If we can get in that ballpark, that'll be really good, because then we'll have an extra 1.5 worth of compression at least out of it, which is another 15-20 horsepower. And then on top of that, I have a set of 200cc Pro Max Max Series heads, which these are some of the best flowing, most affordable heads I could find. I'll do a video on them, taking that box apart and looking at them, giving my honest review of what they look like. And I might compare them to the E-Streets that came off the Nova that when we ran 6 Smokies and it was running 790s all week. We'll kind of compare just like intake runners, like exhaust runners, hardware, stuff like that, just so you can compare an aluminum street head to one that's another street head but it's slightly more performance oriented. So we'll do that, so then you'll have pistons. We'll balance the rotating assembly, we'll get all new bearings, get all new rings for it, get the rotating assembly balanced, and then put the new heads on. And then I'm thinking about getting a new cam, which that's up in the air still right now, but at the very least they'll have new rings, new bearings, new pistons, new heads, lots of new stuff. The engine will be much happier. Hopefully we'll make sure we figure out a way to get the other oil pan on. Hopefully it'll make a lot more oil pressure. It'll be a lot better of a motor as far as that goes. Won't be as much of an old wore out small block that doesn't even have, you know, bolts in it, because it still has just stock GM 1970 truck motor bolts in it. So we'll hopefully get ARP stuff in the engine. We'll get some main bolts, some rod bolts in it. Now should help it live a little bit longer, help it be a little bit more safer at 6,500 RPM whenever we shift at. And we'll go from there. So that's kind of the idea right now for the 350 as we move forward over winter. Hold me to it. Hopefully we can get it all done. And with that being said, I will see you guys later. So be sure to like and subscribe, follow along, because we are heading to PRI this week. It's literally, what day is it? Tuesday today. I'm leaving tomorrow to go to PRI, so we'll go and have fun over there. I don't know how much you'll see at PRI, but it should be really fun. And with that, I'll get back here after that, and then we'll be rock and rolling on the Wagon and everything else for the next little bit till the New Year's. So I'll see you guys then. Peace.